And it depends on what you're trading. Ron says if it's greater than 25,000, call them. Yep. So if you have over 25 grand, give them a call. You should be able to get at least $4 per stock trade. And you should also be able to get $1 option contracts. Jeff says, give examples. Mr. Hall, what do you mean give examples? What does that mean exactly? Okay. Michael says, for which broker? That was TD Ameritrade, someone was asking earlier. Jeff says, of commissions, I do use, yes, I use Thinkorswim and I use Interactive Brokers for longer stuff, longer term stuff. Yeah, so an example of commissions, most people probably pay $5.95 right now and $1.75 per option contract. You can get that down to at least $3.95 per stock and $1 per option contract if you at least call them. But E-Trade and Fidelity are both terrible brokers for trading. I would never use them. Joseph says, you guys do the day trading rooms every day for several hours. I do. You've been here for the last 3 days, Joseph. It's the exact same way it is now, every time, all the time. We haven't changed anything for you. This is just an open house into what we always do anyway. Frank says, how about Schwab? Schwab is okay. It's better than E-Trade and definitely better than Fidelity. Street Smart Edge is good. The actual Schwab application is okay. Jack says $10 for options with Questrade. Yes, Questrade is terrible. You can get Thinkorswim or TD Ameritrade if you are a Canadian citizen. You can also use Interactive Brokers, to my knowledge. Questrade is one of the worst brokers I've ever heard of. Ram says, Jan, I called and bugged the heck out of Schwab and got the $4.95 to $3.95 with a note to drop it further if I bring in $20,000 in capital. Beautiful. Angel says Ally Investments. Ally Investments, Angel, to my knowledge, I've never used them, so I'm not entirely sure. Encore. So I answered your message on Twitter as well, my friend. He says, I was wondering if you can share the trading journal template. I will. To every subscriber who purchases and is part of real life trading, you get access to the trading journal. So Encore, sign up, my man, and I'll give it to you. Philip says, what's the problem with E-Trade? It's just not very good. Their option platform isn't great. Their advanced orders aren't that great. Benjamin says, I've used Ally and it's just okay. Yeah, I've never used them, so I don't have anything. John says, do you have to get approval from TOS to short stocks? Wow, so we're a lot of questions. I love it. You have to have a margin account, John Peister, in order to short stocks on Thinkorswim, but that's about it. If you have a margin account, we should be good to go. So John says, I do. So if you got a margin account, you're good to go. Ram says, I'll join the RL2 family, but don't understand your options language. It's all right, Ram. It'll happen. It's only been a few days, my man. Just let me put it this way. Just imagine what you can do in 3 short months. Just 3 months. That's what all I can do. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my only sales pitch for the day. This is it. This is all I got. Give me 3 months of your time and let me show you what I can teach you. Just 3 months. Just give me 3 months of your time. I will vastly improve your knowledge, your language, your jargon, your skill sets, how much you know, what you don't know. Jacob says, I'll give you 4. I appreciate that, Jacob. I'm going to give a testimony really quick to a guy who's here just because I love him. I'm going to use his first name and everything. His name is Yates. He's right here. He's the first person I can think of. So Yates started in January with real life trading. It's June right now, right? So from January to, he had a very good month in January. And I don't know, it was like 10 hours or something. So he did really good in January. He joined. And then he struggled in February a little bit, struggled in March a little bit. And him and I actually met up in March. We had an in-person, like I was in Denver, so we came to a meetup. We chatted for about an hour and a half. Then we had a coaching session in April. And then May and June has been his best months ever. He's made up all back of his losses because, again, he struggled a little bit in February, March, and he made it all back and is now one of the best traders at real life trading, in my opinion. He's phenomenal. In 6 months' time. So all I'm saying is just give it a little bit of time. Nothing's going to happen overnight. I didn't learn how to trade profitably in 4 minutes. I didn't learn how to trade profitably in 4 days. It just takes a little bit of time. Yates says he didn't know what a candle was in 2017. Guys, 2017. Think about that. That is huge. So anyway, I'm proud of you, man. James says, I thought Yates had been trading for years. I know, dude, he's very good. But yeah, he's literally started in January 2018. Didn't know anything. Yates says up 18 R's for June. Not trying to give anybody back. Guys, that's 18%. His account has grown in 1 month. It's phenomenal. Joseph says, do beginners need a margin account? I'm not afraid of margin, Joseph, so sure, you can use a margin account. As long as you mitigate your risk properly, everything is fine. That's going to be always the biggest key. John Peister says, how would you trade 4 different accounts at TOS? 2 Roths separate and 1 regular account? Yeah, that sounds good. I wouldn't have 2 Roths. I'd only have 1, but I don't have 2 Roth IRAs. But I can see why you would. It makes sense, actually. Oh, one is your wife. Gotcha. I don't have one of those yet. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Ram says, do you have a video on how to do a Roth conversion? I do not, but it's very simple, Ram. If you call any broker, they'll do it for you. They'll move over Roth in like 2 to 3 weeks. All right. Is it cool if I talk trading? I want to look at some markets. I need to make some money. Is that cool? Type in 1 if we're cool. Let's talk trading. I got 45 minutes until I do an interview. I want to go make some money. I can answer all these questions later. I have no issue for that. I want to get some trading done. Let's get some trading. I need to make a confession. I traded Walgreens Boots Alliance like an absolute newbie, and I'm upset about it. Man. Oh, my goodness. I'm so mad at myself for trading this one so poorly. Gosh. So here's what I did. So I went to the extended hours. I did like the extended hours move. I saw this wick. I saw this upper shadow. And so I had an entry right here. I had an entry right there and a stop right there. And I did lose 1 R on Walgreens. So I got stopped out. This was such a classic retest gap. And again, the reason I'm bringing this up is because you can be the best professional in the world. You can be the best at anything. You will have bad days, bad games, bad passes, right? Someone once told me that people consider Eli Manning and Peyton Manning to be good quarterbacks, but they have lost games before. They have thrown interceptions. They've had bad games. This was a pick 6 for my football fans, man. So the reason it was poor is because I should have honestly just turned on the extended hours and played the obvious S curve. Am I right? Look at this. I mean, come on. Jeez. So anyway, I traded right into the 10. I should have absolutely bought here, or at least I should have gotten in a second time. The problem is this is when my computer started crashing. So, I know some other people traded it better than I did. It was an obvious retest gap. Yeah, some other people did make money on this one. It was a beautiful, beautiful move, but I just feel like it was, oh man. Anyway, now, all right, so that was a pick 6. It was a bad trade. I did poorly. I always try to better my best. I always go, man, that was the most obvious retest of all time. How did you miss that one? Which means I'm going to put that into my brain, and the next one that comes around, which hopefully will be this week, I'm going to absolutely crush it. So here's the trade that I did do well on. I cannot remember who gave me this trade, but who typed in Camping World at the beginning of the day? Do you guys remember? Someone threw this chart at me, and I did not know who it was. I don't remember the person's name, but I want this person in the room and trading with me every day. Whoever you are, you did very well. RJ said, how would you pick that buy point on the S pattern? The 10 EMA, RJ. The 10 EMA. All right, that's the retest point that I tell people to wait for. If you're looking for a retest, wait for the 10 EMA on the 5-minute chart. If you pull that up, you'll see that it pulled right into that price. Neil says, I think Brad started with that. Did he? Let me go back. I don't think he did, but he might have. Let me go back to his original watch list. If it was just subconsciously, then I'll just call Brad on the phone later and give him a high five. So this is the Slack channel. If anybody wants to be on, again, when you join Real Life Trading, this is what you're going to get access to. This is me posting. I posted both of our trade setups in here. He did. So maybe it was just subconsciously. Someone else mentioned it as well, but where is his watch list? Yep, CWH. I guess it was Brad. All right, I'll give him a call and thank him later. So CWH was also a retest gap. Look how beautiful this gap was, right? You have a very nice pennant pattern right here. You have some upper shadows there. Got a really good volume. So some people are definitely trapped. We were talking about this one yesterday, early this morning. So here's how I played Camping World. I did post this into Slack. I also posted it into the chat pane, this chat pane that we're in right now. I posted that also. So here's the analysis on Oracle, which we're going to look at Oracle in just a little bit. But Oracle was, that was a very nice rollover. So it did not break the low of the day. So I mentioned, I was just saying, in this chat pane earlier, I was like, hey guys, either take the breakdown or take the rollover. This was the Camping World setup, posted at 8:38 this morning. 8:38 this morning, here's the setup, 25.76 by 25.10. So I did a limit buy because it was a bullish retest gap, meaning I wanted a pullback. And if we pull up the 10 EMA on the 5-minute, this is the actual pullback right here. So if you played the retest, right, remember if you play a retest gap, you really want it to pull into that 10 EMA on the 5-minute and then play it bullish. I got in a smidge earlier than that with an entry here on a pullback with a stop down here below the 5-minute candle low, as RJ is mentioning. So that was a good trade. So that made up for my losses on Walgreens Boots Alliance. It's still actually a very nice trade. This one is probably going to be a good swing trade for you to keep your eyes on as well. So it's a good gap. It's got room to go. I'm going to put this one on the hourly chart, and I'm going to work on playing some type of limit buy on the hourly chart on Camping World. So we'll give it some time. I'm going to put that one on the list for Friday in the afternoon swing trading room for anybody who wants to be there for that. But that was the winner. So I won more than I lost. I did take Scott Miracle Grow with you guys as well. That was a very nice move. I love the setup. And that's when I came on the mic and told Brad to immediately exit because I just knew it wasn't going to work out that well. A gap like that should have played out amazing. So I got out of Scott's Miracle Grow right here for like a 0.1R gain. Very small gain, almost not even worth mentioning. And again, as soon as I came on the mic, he asked me what to do, and I was like, guys, get out. It's just not happening, not working, not good. So those are the only 3 trades that I placed today. As far as day trades, up on the day. Happy to try to find something else. RJ is still asking about Walgreens Boots. So yes, RJ, you would have placed your stop either below the wick of that candle or the wick of this candle, either one. Ram, let me post your comments. Says, what is the pullback numbers on CWH? So this is just right now. I don't know yet. The market hasn't closed. I'm going to look at it later in the week, but this is what I would look at right now. Some type of pullback to the 10. That's going to adjust once the market closes, but I don't know yet. I'm beginning to plan right now. World Wrestling Entertainment, I'm not going to trade it bullish. It's a little too high. There's not that many people trapped on World Wrestling Entertainment, and it already made its move. So WWE had its pullback right here. Again, retest gap into the 10, and it's already made its bullish movement on World Wrestling Entertainment. So I'm not going to play WWE bullish today. It's already done its thing. This was the place to take your profit right there. So well done. Jack says Roku is on a bit of a tear. It is indeed. In fact, I posted this one also in Slack, Mr. Sutherland. For anybody who wants to join this, Slack by itself is worth the price of admission. I promise. I don't say that seriously. Okay, so here is the night. Scrolling up. All right, so at 7:57 last night, I reached out to 3 traders and said, are you still keeping your eyes on Roku? She looks good to continue higher. Look at that. So that was at 7:57 last night. I was doing some chart analysis, posting it, had 3 people mention it. Angel said, yes, sir. I got my eyes peeled on it. Here's a reply on this one. Ricky and Brian are both looking at it. So here's Brian. So anyway, all looks good. There's Ricky, says he's keeping his eyes on it. So Roku, beautiful trade. So now I'm going to go down here and give him another shout out. Ricky. Mauricio says, how do you know when to turn off the extended hours? I usually just turn them off about 2 hours into the day. Angela and Brian. Hope you crushed Roku. Matthew says you have to be in the trading room to get Slack. Yes, sir. Slack is included with the membership. Jamie, Chief says great trade on JWH. Thanks, man. Jaime, love it. Okay, so I'm still looking for something. Let me go through this list and see what we got. Starbucks was an absolute monster. I'm going to make fun of Brad later for not trading that one, guys. Don't worry. I also missed it, but that is, again, if you want to take a picture of a perfect gap and go, get out your iPhone 10 or whatever you're needing and take a picture of. That is the gap of the day right there. Look at that bearish gap and go. Good grief. Now here's the 5-minute chart. Charles says you got a little over 4.3 Rs. Type in a 1 if you traded this one today. I will show you. If you go back to we didn't record today's session, but in the very, very early morning, Brad was talking about how to play this one. He said this is how Jeremy was going to do it. I was setting it up, but again, I was having some tech issues today. But this is how you would have played it. Pre-market low. There's a pre-market support right there. So, you have to play gap and goes when they're very, very good gaps. You play them a little more aggressive. Type in a 3 if you guys agree with that or if you understand that. So if you're playing a gap and go, if it's a phenomenal gap and go, you play it a little bit more aggressive. So you do your analysis on the 5-minute, but you're usually playing the 1, the 2, or the 3-minute chart when you play these things. And it works just like any other pattern. Look for some bullish candles to come in and wait for those bullish candles to get taken out bearishly and then get in below those. So your entry would have been around here with a stop around here, and that would have been it. Again, I was having some technology issues. My computers were just running really, really slow today, and I couldn't get in Starbucks fast enough. But those, type in a 7 into the chat pane if you can see visually that people are being trapped with this candle. We can look at that candle and we know for sure that people are buying. So when I'm looking for a bearish trade to take, I'm looking for buyers who are trapped. And then I'm going to get in below those. And I'm also looking for this particular pattern right there. Right? Let's see. Fitsum says, I lost $19,000 in less than 9 months. 1 month ago, I took Jeremy's free class. The past 3 weeks have been killing options. I'll get my $19,000 back for sure. I quit trading, but Jeremy woke me up from my sleep. For anyone here, I challenge you to listen to this man. You will succeed if you manage your risk. Fitsum, I appreciate the kind words. You are amazing. And I have to agree, it's all about risk mitigation. It's not about me. It's about the community. It's about the team of people. I'm just the guy who talks a lot. Another trade that you could have made, sorry, Michael says, show us the pattern. Let me just screenshot it for you and I'll put it into the chat pane. This pattern works on any time frame. So I'm going to show you on the 2-minute chart, and then I'm going to show you the pattern on the, okay, so this is, I'm going to draw everything out for you. So this was the pre-market support, a pre-market support. Here we go. And this is also for Jeff Hall, who says he's new and he needs help. We're all new, Jeff. Don't worry about it, my man. Judgment-free zone, buying candle. Okay. So this is, remember, this is on the 2-minute chart. All of these moves are fractal, and I'm going to show you what I mean in just a second. When you guys get to trade with LaToya next week, ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your hats. LaToya wrecked this trade today on the 1-minute chart. She's a very good 1-minute chart trader. Jeff says, is the support line below the wick? That is correct. You want to wait for the break of that wick. Anthony, you can use the 2-minute, you can use the 1-minute. The 1 minutes are just faster. I'll show you the exact same pattern on the 1 minute. I'll show you the exact same pattern on the 5-minute. All right. SBUX on the 2-minute. So again, this comes down to your time frame and how fast you are. Tony, you're a very fast trader. In the early morning, you can use the 1 minute. But if you're a little bit slower, you're going to need a little bit of a bigger time frame. The 2 minutes is a good time frame. Here's the 1-minute chart, though. So if we go to the 1-minute chart, you'll notice, look at it, type in a 6 if you can see the S curve. Right, that's the pattern that you're looking for when you take a trade, is you're looking for that S curve to come in and that failure. Doesn't mean the trade's going to work, but when the S curve comes in, obviously you have a very nice buying candle here. You have a very nice buying candle here. You had a good buying candle here. You also could have entered below the pre-market low, right? That low of that 2-minute bar. You could have gotten embarrassed there as well. It was a good breakdown, good retest, and a good continuation. Jim says trading 1 month with real life trading swings, 91% wings and 8.82 Rs. I'm a believer. It got me jazzed up, baby. Camille says, if there was no buying candles, would you still take the trade, and how? It's a great question. Get to that in just a minute. Make sure you remind me. Don says, can you show us how you trade Oracle? I can, because a lot of you trade Oracle, and I'll show you how you guys did that. So that's on the 1-minute chart. Here's the 2-minute. And if we go to the 5-minute chart, notice you have a very similar pattern on the 5-minute. Is this a buying candle on the 5-minute? Yes or no? Yes, it is. So doesn't this look a little bit like that 2-minute chart where you get a buying candle? Here's your pre-market supports. I'll just move all of this down. Look at that. Pre-market support. The wick of this candle is the pre-market support. Trades right down to that level. And once it broke that, that was your second time to get in, or your first time to get in on the 5-minute if you played the 5-minute chart. That doesn't mean the trade would have worked, but it means that's where you would have gotten into the trade, because this particular pattern was also, what type of candlestick pattern? Do you guys know? on Starbucks. It's one of the most bullish patterns you can get. Tweezer bottoms. That is correct. Tweezer bottoms. Jeff says, do you ever use tick charts? I do not use tick charts, Jeff. So yep, you have a tweezer bottom. So we know for sure with 100% degree of certainty that people were buying there, yes? So if we know that people are buying there, you get in bearish with a break below that 5-minute candle. That would have been another way to play Starbucks. There's a phenomenal bearish gap, really good move. Many of my advanced traders just absolutely wrecked that. Remember, my friends, if you don't understand all of this right now, just give me 3 to 4 months of your time. Please let me help you. It's going to take time, but I can teach anyone how to trade the markets. It just takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit. So Oracle, ORCL. This is the post that I made on Oracle. I still have my drawings here. And you could have played Oracle with a break of the low of the day. So here's the first 5-minute low. Notice this little white candle right here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me zoom in actually just for a moment so you can really see these candles. And I'll show you how you would have played the actual rollover. It's a very easy rollover. I haven't changed this drawing since I originally posted it. I have not changed that drawing at all. So that's the original analysis I did 2 minutes after market open. Type in a 3 if that's a little impressive. That's pretty cool. But these wave structures, they do work. And again, the more you see them, the better you're going to get, the more you're going to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. So I'm zooming in very closely into the trade. We can all agree that this is a bullish candle. This candle, notice how you get a bullish candle right before the low of the day break. Right before the low of the day. So you could have entered bearish at 43.17 with a stop really as high or as low as you want. The absolute tightest I would have personally had it would be here at 43.68. So that's the tightest that I would have had the stop personally. And then the other more loose stop would be above the high of this candle from 10:25 Eastern. Now, the other way to play it, I'm going to ask you all a question. What does this blue line right here represent? Pre-market resistance, exactly. Pre-market resistance. So since that pre-market resistance is there, it obviously did not close above pre-market resistance. So the stock traded down a bunch of bullish volume. It started the rotation higher and it started rotating lower. Now, I know this is all it is technically in hindsight, but we were trading this today. So it's not that much hindsight because yes, this happened, but type in a 6 if you played Oracle today. And the people who are going to be typing in 6s, you got Jacob Sellers, you got Neil Osborne, who's just absolutely destroying this right now. You got Angel Flores, you got Vilcom, you got Kyle, you got Don Wilson, you get my buddy Chief. So you got a lot of people who played Oracle today. So they knew how. And it's not insanely hard. It's just all about risk protection. So when would you have gotten the signal? When would you have gotten the signal to, hey, this is the time to at least start thinking about getting in? Right? Well, the S curve, I'm just going to move the S curve down here for right now. And when this candle came in, this is a shaved bottom candle, meaning it has no lower shadow. That is a very strong support. And what you'll notice is if you just drew a line to the left, just draw a line to the left, that's also the support for the pre-market levels. Right? So when this white candle comes in right there, that's when you have to start thinking, okay, this is going to do one of two things. It's either going to S-curve and bounce higher. That's option number one. What's option number two? it's going to do exactly what it did. Roll over. Now, how do you know which one is going to happen? You don't. You have no idea. No one knows. I'm not going to know. Brad's not going to know. LaToya's not going to know. But what we can do is we say, here's what the candles are going to do. Here's what I want to see. And if this happens, I'm going to get in. And then I'm going to mitigate my risk. So what I'll do is I'll go back in time. Once this candle shows up, I'll just kind of back trade it for you. Once this candle shows up right here, you have to start thinking, all right, if this breaks down, this is how I would have taken Oracle right here. Neil posted in a trade a second ago. He says 44.12 by 44.55. So he was a little bit more aggressive than this particular trade, but that's okay. I'm usually more conservative. But this would have been my setup on Oracle. And I would have said, yeah, it's probably not going to work, but if it does, that's fine. Right? Next candle. Is that a bullish or bearish candle? It's a bearish candle. It's a black candle. Now, the cool part is it does have a lower shadow. That's exciting to me because what does a lower shadow mean? A little bit of buying pressure. That's right, a little bit. You have some buying pressure on this candle. I refer to these candles personally as a hammer-ish candle. That's what I call them. That's just my name. I'm eccentric. So I call them a hammer-ish candle because they're not a phenomenal hammer. It's just, it's a black candle, but it has a little bit of a lower shadow. So some type of hammer candle. So you're saying, okay, I like this trade. It's probably not going to roll over, but in case it does, I'm going to set up the trade. The next candle, oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph Curry, wide open at the three-point line. Is he going to take the shot? Most likely. What is this pattern called? This is one of my favorite candlestick patterns, definitely top 10. This is the 2-candle pennant pattern. 2-candle pennant. What does it say? It simply says, hey man, or hey lady, I'm compressing. I'm about to pop in one direction or another. When this pattern occurs at a good level, that's a fun trade to be setting up and ready to go. So it doesn't mean you can just go find two pennant patterns and just trade them anywhere. But if they occur at a level that you were already planning on getting in at, and then that level shows up, you have to take that trade and be set up and ready to go. So obviously your next trade that comes in, you're in the trade. Now, from there, I normally wait 20 to 25 minutes, and then I lower my stop. So I will allow it to do this and all manners of this, and I'll lower my stop. I will have a target right here at 1R to exit a little bit. And then I will ask for Oracle to eventually break the low of the day, which we all know it ended up doing. So I'm just going to go 5 candles to show you where I would have lowered my stop to. So that's 1, 2, 3, 2. That's a 2-pennant pattern right there. 4, 5. So now I'm saying, oh boy, this is at the low of the day. It could easily bounce here. So you're glad that you took off something. So right here, I'm out of most likely 25% of my position. So if I had 2,000 shares, right, I'm out of 25%. And then I lower the stop from there down to this candle right here. I'll point to the candle with the blue arrow. That candle. That's the candle that I would have put my stop above. Why? It's the most bearish candle other than the one that we entered on. Theory says, how many pennies below the candle do you place your entry? Usually 1 or 2 or 3. I mean, the more expensive the stock, the more pennies it will be. But for me personally, I need to see some white space. This is what I have trademarked as wiggle room. Right? Could the low of that bullish candle The exact low is 44.10. So my entry would have been 44.06. So I normally give it a little bit of wiggle room just so you don't have that one wick down and then a pop higher. Right? Does that make sense, Theory? It's a good question. So I would have lowered my stop to this red line where it is now, because that's the most bearish candle that we have. And then I wait another 25 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that probably is 2 R's. So if I draw my setup, put it here, original entry there. 2 R's is, oh, that's the bearish one, sorry. Short position. Okay, 2 R's on this trade would have been, so original stop there. 2 R's is, nope, not there yet. Right here. Which, so now what I would have done is I would take my stop and now put it above the most recent previous bearish candle, which would be this one right here. I'll point to it with a blue arrow. This is the most bearish candle of these candles. So I'm gonna put my stop there and then I'm gonna wait another 25 minutes. And we're actually, we're gonna catch up to almost where we are right now. Okay, so that's where, so now I take my stop, I put it above that wick, wait another 25 minutes, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I probably turn on a moving average just to see where we are. Okay, there's the 20, so I'm gonna leave my stop where it is. I want it to interact with the 20. All right, next candle, lower the stop above that upper shadow, and we're about to get to where we are present day. There we go. That's where we are right now in Oracle. And that's why we are pausing right here, ladies and gentlemen, is because there are other people who use this strategy. There are robots, algorithms, and hedge funds who use this exact strategy. And they got their 2 R's, and that's why they're exiting right now. And that's why we're pausing on Oracle. Kind of cool how that happens, right? But that's why we're getting so close to 2 R's with the setup that I did, is because there's other people that did that exact same thing. So if I was presently in Oracle, I would have my stop right there, 42.78, and see if I can hit 2 R. And if I hit 2 R, I'll exit the whole trade, and I'll end up making about 1.6 R's on it. And that's how I would have traded Oracle. Plus, I had a trader earlier ask me if this thing's going to come down to the 200 on the weekly, and I said yes, and that's where we are right now. So besides the 2 R, if I know an obvious support resistance level, if I can see this and I can look at Oracle and I can go, man, this is obviously a spot, a very strong level, right? Where we are located. If that happens, then you can obviously exit some there anyway. It doesn't have to be 2 R's. It can be 1.5 R's, but if it's an obvious support, you might as well take some off, right? Ram says, I'm stepping out. I'll be back for the swing trade session at 5 Eastern. Thanks for all you're doing. My pleasure. Spencer says, thanks, guys. Signing off. All right, Spence, take care, my man. Any last minute questions? And it's okay. There's tons and tons of questions out there. I love it. Beautiful stuff. Hoping the PVTL kind of continues higher. Here's our Alibaba trade. So the weekly options newsletter, Alibaba, we missed that by about a nickel. 5 cents. At least I did. I did not get filled personally. Got very close to getting filled on Alibaba. It came down. It's trying to get open, so no big deal. Marilyn says, are these candle patterns lessons in your video series? Of course. Absolutely. But again, Marilyn, even if you feel like you guys are all brand new and you've never been a part of this before, all my videos are online and they are free. You're more than welcome to go through them. but I often find that people learn better in live experiences and live environments. So if you are brand new, even if you get, again, just do this for 2 or 3 months, the amount that you're going to learn is exceptional. In real time, and again, I record so many videos and articles. John says, can you go over the R's, what you base it on, and what if you're in several trades at the same time? Let me send you an article and also a video, Mr. Peister. We talk about R's. This is in class 2 of the beginners program. It's literally the second class that I talk about. It's obviously free. If you're gonna go click that link I just put in the chat pane and check that out. And actually just posted an article as well called What is an R? So watch that video, read that article, and ask me tomorrow if you need any clarification on that. I says, thanks, we'll do. Awesome sauce. All right, let me go see where my boy J-Bones, Johnny Guarco is. There's John Guarks. I think I did that right, okay. All right. John says, I'm here, cool. I have a trader on YouTube Live saying, what do you think of Micron today? So Micron, I wouldn't mess with it. Earnings are tonight. I think earnings are going to gap up. The interesting thing is at this particular point in time, if Micron gaps above here or here, it's going to have a very good bullish run, most likely. We have a lot of traders who have sold some puts on MU over earnings as they expect it to either gap up, not gap at all, or gap down a little. But in my particular opinion, as far as the stock goes, I like it long term. Just keep in mind that earnings are tonight. Robert says, how do you utilize the trading room best? That's a great question, Robert. Honestly, best way to utilize it, be in it for 3 to 4 months and just ask a bunch of questions that you have as you get them. Get your questions answered in live and take the trades that we set up. You can do it that way. So be there for 3 to 4 months, ask a bunch of questions, and if we set up a trade that you like, feel free to follow it. Connor says, what's your opinion on Netflix? Netflix, strong company, amazing move. I would not buy here. If you have missed a trade, if you've missed Netflix, you've missed it. Wait for a much more substantial pullback before you buy the dip on Netflix. Preferably 330 or maybe even all the way down here at 248 if it gets down there. But love Netflix. Facebook, I mentioned Facebook very often. And at the beginning of the year, I said Facebook will hit 200. Facebook is breaking out. This is a retest gap on Facebook. Buy the dip. Beautiful trends. I had this 205, for some traders, got this 205 covered call that expires this Friday. I think I timed that perfectly. So yes, Facebook, phenomenal bullish gap. Very good move. My buddy Gary Wiggins in California played this one to perfection. Here's the 1 minute chart on Facebook as Mr. Falco was asking me to check. And you had 4 to 5 candles of just perfect sideways movement. Entry right there, stop right there. Or if you played just the regular old classic 5 minute bullish retest gap on Facebook, which I did not do this morning, but I certainly could have. If I turn off the extended hours, you'll notice you just get that nice comfortable pullback into the 10 there, get a pullback into the 20 there. Just a nice little trend. Good move on Facebook. I like it. Now, for something that hopefully will be semi-interesting to some of you, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, we host an interview. Usually, I host an interview And I ask a real life trader about their journey, what strategies they use, what books they've read, what has helped them the most, what has helped their family, what their lifestyle is like, how they've made money, all that kind of good stuff. So we do that every single Wednesday. Also because normally on Wednesday, you have a lot of Fed stuff. And between 1 and 2:30 on Wednesdays can be really wicky and get pretty wild with all the Fed releases, Fed minutes, things of that nature, a lot of updates. It can get pretty insane. So normally during this time, we host an interview. A few weeks back, I interviewed a gentleman by the name of Johnny Guarco, and he lives in Hawaii, and he's a really good friend of mine, trading partner, mentor, known him for a long time. And he suggested in that interview that he interviews me in one of those interviews, which I thought was interesting. So if you want to be here for that, you're more than welcome to continue to stay tuned. I will not be placing any more trades from now until, well, I'm pretty much done day trading for the day. I'm up on the day for the day trades. I'm profitable, so I'm very happy about that. Took 3 trades, lost on 1, won on 2 of them, lost less than I won. Everything is good. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my buddy Johnny Guarco on the microphone. He has not prefaced me with any questions, so he's just going to ask me questions and interview me for the next hour. I'm going to record it. I'm interested to see what questions he asks, and if you guys are interested in the interview, feel free to stick around. So, Mr. Guarco, can you still hear me? Make sure I have my volume turned up. Let me make sure he's unmuted. Okay. So if you're around, J-Bones, he's just working on getting his mic unmuted. So I'll unmute your mic. And it might, if you're using a headset, there might also be a mute button on the headset as well, potentially. But once we get that tech issue figured out, we'll start rocking the interview. It's gonna be fun. I have no idea what he's gonna ask. While he's doing that, Jack says Apple breaks the 200 SMA on the 5-minute. I was looking at Apple to go bullish yesterday and Tech Giant Tuesday. Just missed it. Johnny, there, I heard something pop on. No offense, but you sound like Donald Duck. If it's if you have like a USB, you might want to maybe pull it out. Some type of Alvin and the Chipmunks thing going on over there. So no stress. John's just figuring out his microphone. I've had tech issues all day. It could be on my end as well. I do like Apple down here though for some trades. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on what Apple ends up doing at some level. As far as swing trades go, I do have a swing trade on CSCO, which I'm doing my absolute best to continue holding this thing. It is taking forever. I did get stopped out on Hewlett Packard Enterprises today. So that one did not bounce. Realistically, it could have had my stop right below the low of that candle. So Hewlett Packard, no bounce on that. And GES, so I did get stopped out on 2 swing trades. GES got stopped out on Pivotal Software, PVTL. Pivotal Software, we will see. I think it's going to consolidate for a little bit, hoping that 10 can come up and slowly provide a little bit of buying pressure on that one. All right. So let's see if Johnny's microphone's working now. John, can you hear me? And if we need to, we could also do via phone call. You could log in, do a phone call. I think you're at your house, either at your house or your office. Let me look at Seagate Technology. I do have a put sale on Seagate, ticker symbol STX. This one's going to get affected a little bit by what Micron does, I believe, but should look pretty good. We'll see what actually ends up happening. Let me post this to John. So he's going to call on the phone. Just send him the phone number. Yates, did you think you'll do that X put sale? So U.S. Steel. Let me go check it out. Actually, I was going to do that in the afternoon, but yes, let me go pull it up. July 30. What do we got here? July 30 put sale is only 19 cents. I'm going to wait. I thought there'd be a little bit more premium. There's going to be a decent amount of premium for July, but I'm going to wait for now. Encore says, bye on YouTube. See you, Encore. Take care. You rock. Michael says, later, bro. I'm going to work on my trading plan. Look forward to an exciting day tomorrow. You got it. Take care. Frank is asking about Caterpillar. 138 put sale for July. 138. I do like the level that you're looking at, Frank. Jack says, have to go. Thanks again, Jeremy. My pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for being here. 138. There should be some pretty good premium down there for Caterpillar. I don't have 138 for July, Frank. At least on Thinkorswim. I have 139 and 135. I don't have a 138. That might just be Thinkorswim, though. Sometimes it can be a little fickle, I guess. But if it were me, I'd probably go with a 135 at $1.60. That looks pretty delish. Cool, he says. Yeah, man. John says, what phone number? I will text it to you as well, John. I put it into the chat pane for you. I'll take a picture and send it to you. The biggest challenge is if you log in with that, it might be the exact same audio as mine, so it might kick me off. But if you want to click on the mute button, there should be an audio settings that gives you the opportunity to switch between computer audio and phone call audio. I'll send you a picture of that as well. But in the meantime, if you guys want to ask me any questions, you're more than welcome to. So audio settings, and then phone call settings. James says, say we wanted to play an option instead of a stock on one of your plays. Since you use buy stops, what's a good way to pick the option buy stop? That's a very good question, James. There's a lot of information on options, man. Bottom line, I would use an options pricing chart to determine what price you would use the buy stop on, or figure it out via.
Jeremy, are you there? Hello? Are you there? Jeremy, are you there? Jeremy, are you there?
All right, I'm back. Type in one if you guys can hear me okay. All right, perfect. Sorry, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. That's been happening for me all day long. All day, just tons of tech issues. So we're gonna figure it out, don't worry. All is well. I don't have anything going on afterwards, so plenty of time. Chief says, that's why it's real life. Things happen. Yeah, my man, you know it. You know it. Don says you could just talk about yourself. It's true. It's true. Falco says, or Jeremy's avoiding the tough questions. It's very possible. It's not my bandwidth though, Ryan. It's something on Johnny's end. It's some type of mic issue. He's trying to get his audio connected. So we will figure it out. Benji says, he's watching Google. So yes, Google, we talked about Google breaking out yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an amazing move on Google. I do think it pulls back to some degree. So here's the resistance. And again, a pullback on Facebook, a pullback on Google, all possibilities. But the Qs right now, I mean, the Qs are doing very well. They're up 1%. They're about to make a new all-time high. So again, we had the nice little retest, the nice pullback the last 2 or 3 days. Now we're back off to the races. Here's NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is working on slowly climbing higher. AMD is actually down. So that's kind of weird, but AMD's been moving so strongly recently that it's one that's almost needs to have a pullback happen. Here's Intel. So if you are watching Intel, this is what I was talking about it doing yesterday. So in the Tech Giant Tuesday class yesterday, I drew this exact pattern on Intel right here. So now we'll actually get to figure out if that rollover will happen. And very similar to Oracle, we can look at pretty much where we are. We can dictate that there's a support and resistance here, right? This is the 15-minute chart. And you have a bullish candle here, and you have a bullish candle here. So on Intel, if you're going to play this rollover, you'd wait for this support to come in, and then you'd wait for that to break down, and that's kind of where you would catch it. I mean, obviously, you could short it right here and put your stop higher. You can do that as well. This entirely comes down to how much experience you have doing that. Benjamin said he's in long queues with the calls. Beautiful. Keep holding that. Keep holding. Peter says, can you look at BlackBerry? Sure. So BlackBerry, BB. BlackBerry. Not doing that much. Here, let me try to think of, Johnny, if your audio is not working, let me figure out one other thing we could do. I'm trying to use my resources in my brain to figure this out. Let me call you on Slack, and I will use the audio that way. Benjamin says, one more R for me and 4 months is paid for, man. Looks like I'm coming to real life trading. Benjamin, I'll get you that R's on the Q's. I'm just going to keep holding. Yeah, so Peter, BlackBerry, not doing anything really, man. Earnings is around the corner though. So let me put that on the list for Thursday. And we will look at BlackBerry in the afternoon on Thursday once that earnings occurs. So let me see if I'll call Johnny a different way. I'll call him through Slack. And that way, Johnny, you can answer through Slack and we'll be able to hear you that way. I can use my resources. We'll just see if he knows how to pick up. There's more ways to do this. All right. I don't think he knows how to answer that call yet. I will text him. We'll try again in a second. I have one trader on YouTube saying, holding my long call since yesterday, swinging this with a protective out of the money puts. Any thoughts? On the SPY. Got you. So you're in SPY calls. So if you're in SPY calls with an out of the money put as protection, here's SPY. I would hold it because I really like this retest gap, and I do think this is the pullback in the market. I think this is a nice, comfortable pullback. Let me try Johnny again via Slack. If that doesn't work, I'll call him through Google. I'll call his cell phone number. At some point, we've got to make this happen. Yeah, he says, see you, Jeremy. Have a good one. You too, buddy. Take care, man. All right, let me see if this will work for John. On YouTube, James says, what trades did you take today? I played Walgreens Boots like an absolute moron, and I lost an R. I played Camping World for 1.4 Rs gain, and I played Scott's Miracle Grow for 0.1 R gain. So I'm up half an R after taking 3 trades. That's weird. Now Slack's not even going through. All right. How about this? I'm gonna figure this out. There's numerous ways to do this. Just like there's ways to make it happen, I'm gonna call him via Google phone call, which I haven't used in forever. And if he doesn't pick up this, then we're just gonna cancel it and we'll do something later. All right, 808, I'm gonna call him at home, 455-6789. Now everybody has his phone number. Don't blow up Johnny's number. You guys don't mind? I didn't think about how to hide it, but that's okay. Let's see if this works.
Hello.
Johnny.
Yes.
Dude.
What the heck is going on?
Do not play the lottery today.
Oh my goodness. I better not leave the house today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Stay on your couch, man.
Good thing I'm up 1 R. I'm turning my broker off.
Oh, nice, dude. What'd you trade?
Thanks to Brad and you guys, the SMG trade. I got out just in time before it started to retest.
Oh, nice, man. So you played this one. You played this one a little bit more aggressively, then, yeah?
I think I'll tell you what. I'll pull it up, and I got in. Let's see. I got in about what time was that? That was 5 my time. So that must have been about
10 my time.
6 Eastern Standard Time. I got in at what did I get in at?
Right about there.
At 80.35, I think, and my stop was 81.17, and then I got out, right when it hit what I had as support, which was 79.50. Got out right there.
Nice. So you played that S curve right there. Very well done, Guarks. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Just to make sure everyone can hear me and John, type in 3, and if you can see my chat pane. Sorry for the delay. Apologies about that, but I've once heard, someone once told me that sometimes technology will test your patience. But what you guys got to see me.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, man. You're good.
Okay. So just in case we get disconnected, can you call me back? Because I don't know how much battery. I'm on a cordless phone right now, so I don't know how much battery this one handset has, but because I've been using it.
Okay.
So call me back if we do get disconnected.
I will. No worries, my man. No worries.
So I apologize, with the audio stuff going on, I didn't hear how you introduced. Everybody understands pretty much that I was interviewed by Jeremy a couple weeks ago, and I just thought, because I've been with Jeremy, how long have we been together now, Jeremy? About 6 years?
Yeah, man. That's crazy, but 6 years.
Something like that.
Yep.
I thought that, everybody needs to hear it from an outside source. about RLT and about Jerremy, because I'd put my word, to the credibility of Jerremy and RLT any day. And I'm a retired U.S. Marine officer, and we pride ourselves on integrity. And I can tell you, this is the real deal. I've checked out other trading venues before, and you're not going to find anything as honest and as credible as Real Life Trading and Jerremy and the rest of the crew. So that's kind of like my pitch leading into this.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, brother. Coming from
Yeah, so what I wanted to do is, you've been doing some great trading lessons and training over this last couple of days, and that's what you do all the time with all of us anyway. So those of us just tuning in to you for the first time this week, I wanted people to get to know you a little bit better. I think they understand your trading style. Obviously, there's all kinds of resources available to them, probably more than any other trading company in the world, and it's all for free, which is just unbelievable. But I just wanted to ask you some questions, Jerremy, so some people can get to know you a little bit better and understand who you are and how you think. And we're going to talk a little bit about trading, just a little bit up front, but I'm going to ask you some out-of-the-box questions that are focused on who you are and how you think and how you see the future, if that's okay.
Yeah, I like it, man. And again, I'm just going to tell everyone, Johnny has not told me these questions, and I want it to be that way. I don't really tell other people what I'm going to ask them, so I want it the exact same way. So yeah, man, fire away, whatever you got for me.
Okay, sounds good. So do we still have about an hour, even though I'm about 15 minutes late, Jerremy?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sounds great. I actually took off work just for you for this, so I'm excited.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I got to get to work later on this morning, though.
Thanks,
So
bro.
anyway, can you tell everybody why you started RLT and exactly what is this enriching lives all about? Can you explain that?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so how I started Real Life Trading. Well, as a lot of you know, many of you probably know, I went through a lot of trading education, trading rooms. I've read books, I've purchased programs, and I went to one. I don't really mind saying the name. One of those companies is called Online Trading Academy, OTA. And all I'm going to say about OTA is they just have a much higher price tag than most people. They do a lot of intensive, like in-person training. They can last for 3 to 4 days. And I went to one of their sales pitches. Does anybody have any idea how much they charge? Which again, I understand that businesses have to make money. I'm all about people making money. That's fantastic. But the absolute bottom of the barrel is about $7,000. And I think for the lifetime membership is $50,000. $50,000. 50. And so when I got that pitch, the cool part is I could have actually paid it, but I was thinking to myself, 50 grand. Like that is so much. I mean, again, for education. Now, the ironic part is people will pay that to go to college, no problem.
Yep.
That's the other side of that. But that's really when I had this big turning point. Is I was sitting there, Johnny, in one of these sales pitches in a comfort inn in like Orlando, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? I could do this so much better than they could. I love to teach. They're terrible. So at the time, I was working for another trading company, and I was one of their main marketers and advertisers and webinars and salespeople. And so I researched business. I've always wanted to start my own business. I never knew what my business was going to be. So one day I called you and I called a few other friends. I was just throwing some ideas out there. And I'm like, okay, here's one thing I know about life. If you want to make money, do what you're really good at. That's all I know at the time. This is about
20 something.
Yeah, 5 years ago. So I was about 25. And I knew if you want to make a lot of money, just do something that you're really good at, whatever that is. And I had experience doing radio. I knew how to trade the markets. I did love trading more than anything. I loved teaching. And I tried to figure out how to blend that all together. And I was really upset, frustrated, and annoyed by number one, how much teachers get paid. That was one of the things that frustrated me because I was like, I know that there's a way for other teachers to make more money. And so that was like, how can I help teachers make more money? Because I'm a teacher at heart. I've always wanted to be a teacher. And I wanted to design a company where teachers, like kindergarten teachers, men and women, high school teachers, middle school teachers, could take and buy my product or my service or go through my class and learn how to trade. So I was like, I'm designing the whole company around teachers having a low salary, short periods of time, a lot of work, something that they could dive into and start trading. And I was sitting on my bed in my old apartment, and I was thinking in my head, I had at this particular point in time, I had already gone through numerous, like, what am I going to call this? One of the names I really liked was Traditi, which is, I think it's trading in Latin. It's traditi.com. And I had like 5 or 6 of the names. I'm like, I really like this. And at the time, this is when Ashley and I just really first started dating. I think we've been dating like, what, 3 months, maybe? And she was like, why do you want to create a company? And I was telling her, I was like, I'm just tired of all the people out there who are selling their products and who are scummy people, and you don't know if they're trading or not. And they always have a sales pitch in every single class. They always have a sales pitch. I've never in my life gone through a program and just did not get a sales pitch at the end. Never in my entire life. And I was like, I want to change this entire industry. I want to be disruptive. And I said, I was talking to her this out loud on the phone. Were we on the phone or was it in person?
I thought it was in person, but
it was either on the phone or in person. I really can't remember. I think it was on the phone. And I'm like,
on the phone and then the next.
Yeah. And I'm texting her this and I'm talking to her and I'm like, I just want something real, I want something, and that's exactly how it happens. Like I get goosebumps to the day. I was sitting there, I was like, man, I just want something real. I want to talk about life. Like I want people to know about debt and how to pay off credit card bills and how to become better people in retirement. And I was like, and I want to put trading into that because I want to talk about the stock market and options. I was like, I just want like real life trading. And then like, oh, boom. And dude, I purchased immediately the domain name. I had no idea how to start a business, but I was like, I'm gonna do the domain name and I'm gonna go find people to help me build this. Because as soon as I knew the name, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do.
And I tried to talk you out of using real life trading. Remember that as a name because I didn't like it.
Yeah, you did. But that's fair. It's fair. I trust me. I actually had a few people. One of my good friends, Adam, wanted to call it GoPro trading because he's pro. You want to be a professional, and GoPro is already where the people look up. And I was like, no, man, real life trading. This is it. I was like, the term real life is going to become more popular in the future because there's more virtual stuff. It's all online. Everything is internet. I was like, I just got to do it this way. And
well, you're a life coach, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you call yourself a life coach?
Yeah. I would. I define myself as a performance architect. But, most people call it life coaching. Yeah, but performance architect. But anyway, I had all of that built in, and about a month before that, I had read the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Very, very good book. If anyone hasn't read it, if you want to start your own company, that's the book to read. And in I only got like 3 chapters in. And the very beginning was like, find your mission, build your company around that. I was like, all right, I need to have a mission. What is my mission? Like the to enrich lives part. And enrich lives, obviously everyone knows, is a play on words because it has the word rich in it. I want to make people rich. I want to make people wealthy. But at the end of the day, enrichment is not necessarily money. Right? It's also positive vibes. It's community. It's a family. It's just high energy. It's all things good. Overall enrichment. If you're enriched, you're a better person. And
absolutely,
I learned that word from one of my mentors who has passed away. His name is Dr. Carl Boone. He's the guy in community college who taught me how to write. And at the time, he said I wrote like a drunk donkey was his terms. And then I wrote like a journalist who had nothing to write about. he was really harsh on my paper. This was the first year at community college. I was in advanced composition or something. I couldn't write well. And he said I used too many dumb words. I used too much fluff. And he said, here's an example. In this word right here, you use X, Y, Z. He's like, you could have used the word enrich. He's like, enrich is a great word. Here's why enrich is a great word. And he talked about all of it. And that word had just always stuck out to me. So when I said enrich, I was like, I want to use that word in this mission. So to enrich lives, once that was actually came to me very quickly. And once I did that, I was like, I'm just going to build the entire company and I'm going to continue to hammer down that mission. I want everyone to know the mission because a month before that, I had read a book, Golden Circle or Golden Customer Service. Hold on, I'm gonna have to find the name of this book. Give me one second.
Okay.
It's the Ritz-Carlton. It's a book about the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah, so enrich goes beyond just being a theme. I mean, it goes a lot deeper than that. It's what you want to do to help people create bigger and broader dreams in their lives, right? To help them everywhere from financially to lifestyle to, even their relationships, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate bringing that up. And Benjamin, thank you. The new gold standard. So that's the book, and the book was talking about.
That's it.
Yeah, they're talking about that mission and how their whole company is focused around the mission. And I knew I was going to create a company, and if I just focused it on a really good mission, that it would work.
Right.
And yeah, but that's the enrichment part really has, in a way, very little to do with trading.
Right.
Trading is a way that people can use a certain instrument that already exists to make money. But I've had over a dozen people that I've worked with, at least, who have gone through my trading program, who I've worked with one-on-one. And at the end of it, I was like, hey man, trading is not for you. However, XYZ could be a really good way for you to make money. And Olive and Christine, they were the two people I worked with. I was like, guys, trading is not for you. Start real estate. And they're like, what should we do in real estate? And I was like, start flipping houses, and here's some books to read. And all I did is just springboard them. And then they took the rest and just ran with it. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, like I said, the trading thing is just a very small aspect. I love trading because I love it. But as far as the actual encompassing of all of that, it comes down to relationships and freedom.
Yep. Love that freedom word. You know that.
Yeah, man.
So, okay, I got to throw some game rules in here because we just used 12 minutes out of my 1 hour that I have about 14 more questions to ask you. So okay. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes at the most to answer the rest of the questions.
There's that Marine coming out. Okay, I can deal with that.
There you go. And I need to put a little pressure on you too. But no, that was a great answer. And I mean, that's exactly how I remember how it went too. But anyway, Jerremy, so, obviously RLT stands out way differently from everybody else because all the content, all the videos, everything that you do, except for the trading rooms and the weekly option newsletter, all of that's free. So everybody has all these resources available to them, so they know what they need to do. If they don't know trading, then they need to get into the resources, take your classes, and start there. But after that, what would you tell, especially new traders, like the top 3 to 5 things that they need to do to move forward with their trading? And I'm not talking about technical things. I'm not talking about you got to set up a broker and, you got to get a computer. I'm talking about what do they personally need to do to go ahead and move ahead and become a profitable trader?
All right. Got it. 2 minutes. I'm going to answer this question. The only way I could really answer that is to kind of describe my journey and what I had to do. The biggest thing that you're going to have to change is you're going to have to start figuring out your mindset, because you're going to have to work on what money means to you. How much is a lot? How much is a little? How much are you worth? That's a phenomenal question to start answering. How much money do you deserve? You're going to have to start working on the mental mindset, because I tell people all the time, you can go to any company, any program, any trading room, it's irrelevant if your mindset is not correct. If you don't have the proper thought process and mental procedures in place, no trading company, no trading strategy will help you. It's really irrelevant because you're not going to make as much money as you deserve if you don't feel like you deserve that. So that's going to be step number one. Read a bunch of books, ask a bunch of people, change your mindset. Number two, if you're going to learn a language, you have to overcome the fear of being and looking stupid. So if you're learning a new language, let's say you're learning French, go to France, spend 6 months in France. Simple as that. That's the absolute best way. If you're going to go Rosetta Stone, buy the software and hang out with people who speak French as often as you can. You have to immerse yourself. That is the fastest way to true exponential growth in any facet and any career. It doesn't matter if you're a chiropractor, teacher, fireman. You're going to have to surround yourself with people who are doing what you do. If it's fitness or if it's health, get other like-minded people around you and help them push you forward. If you can do those two things, you'll accomplish and be successful in any career path.
Awesome. That was great. Thanks. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
So let's talk just about you and how you trade here, just because some people look at you and say, hey, man, this guy is trading success, and I want to trade like him, besides all the, the fundamentals and the teachings that you have to go through to understand trading. But you personally, can you break down the different strategies that you use in a percentage? Like, would you say that you do, for profitability wise, do you do maybe 30% day trading, 40% swing trades, and then the rest maybe credit spreads? Or how would you break that down, what you personally do?
Absolutely. Okay. So the percentages of the strategies of what I do. I'm going to break it down from a time perspective and also a return perspective. And what I will also mention is any strategy that anyone begins to do, make sure you can explain that strategy to an 8-year-old. Because if you cannot explain that strategy to an 8-year-old, you're probably not going to be able to make money with it. So keep the strategy as simple as possible and make money. Make money with a simple strategy. It is key. So day trading, I would say, is probably 60% of what I do, as far as, and this is going to be under the time component. So I probably spend 60% of my time doing day trading. I would say swing trading is 30%, and option selling, along with long-term investing, is the other 5, because they don't really require that much time. If I'm long-term investing, it's very easy. Put some money into a company that you like a lot. Done. Yep. That's pretty much it. So it doesn't even matter how much money, and to some extent. The more money you put in, the more research you should do. That simple. And when I say research, I mean into the company, the actual product. Who do they buy? How long have they been around? Where do they sell? Do you actually like them? If you're going to put in $100,000 into Netflix, you better have a Netflix account and you better watch a lot of Netflix shows, right? Simple as that. Right. But if you're going to put in $5, it doesn't really matter. So investing in option selling, I'm actually doing less and less credit spreads. I'm going to be making a video on that very soon. But put sales, I would say, is 4% of that actual approach. And then credit spreads is the other 1%. I've been doing them very, very minimally, and I'll probably continue doing that for a while. Now, as far as how much money, so that was the time, how much money I make on that, I would say day trading is probably now 70%. I'm not going to count investing in the long term because I can't pull anything out. I'm only 30. So I'm just letting that sit there and letting it grow, letting it build. I would say swing trading is 20% and option selling is 10%.
Okay.
And that's how it's broken down for money for me. And again, the option selling, again, about 10%. Long term, I don't touch it. My viewpoint is be like Warren Buffett, but better. That's my thought. So he accumulates, he buys companies, he buys shares of companies, regardless of how much money he has. He first started off like 60, 70 years ago with buying like $100 at a time, So obviously $100 6 years ago was a lot more than it is now, but the principle applies. He's been investing for the long term for a while. And what will happen is you'll hit that exponential growth curve at some point.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. So this next question actually comes from our very own Angela, and I was actually thinking about the same exact thing because I am, believe it or not, I'm disorganized and I'm a space cadet. And so like look at your lifestyle. You are nonstop from the time the sun comes up until way after the sun goes down. I don't know how you can do anything except for just concentrate on RLT and your trading, but somehow you do pull it off. But one of the most important things, as you know, is how you organize not only your trade setups, but what you're going to keep an eye out on in the future. So you may see something today that you say, oh, this is interesting, but it's got to do this and this before I want to even think about getting in. So the question is, how the heck do you organize your trades and your trade setups?
Great question. So it's going to revolve a little bit about time management because that's one of the things that will help anyone as far as being a space cadet or as far as feeling that you're always rushed. That's what most people do is they feel like they're always rushed. They feel like they're living in the moment. They're like every single hour is like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing next. I forgot this. I forgot that.
Yes.
I'm going to try to draw this the best way I can. What a lot of people struggle with is they will plan for the future at a certain moment in time, right? And they'll come up with a schedule for that moment in time. But what they forget to do is as that moment in time gets closer and they reach the apex of everything that they scheduled for, they don't have any other thing in the future scheduled. And so what happens is once they reach that apex, then they start to feel rushed for a certain period of time until they stop, they sit down for 2 or 3 hours, and then they schedule everything else again. So for me, the best way I'm trying to visually draw this is what I will do is if I'm on a flat line of time and I'm going forward in time and I planned something, as I'm going about halfway through that plan, I will then sit down and plan for the other futures event. And before I get to any deadlines, I am doing my absolute best to plan as far ahead as I can. And then I set a bunch of reminders. I didn't spell reminders right, reminders. Google Calendar, Notes. I didn't spell calendar right either. Calendar, Google Calendar, Notes, iPhone, Droid. I use that so frequently because as far as relying on technology, some people are like, I don't want to rely on technology. I want to be able to mentally remember everything. I used to think that until I realized that it is humanly impossible to remember everything that you have to do all the time. It's not going to occur. You don't have enough. No one has enough brain power. So, I mean, some people are going to think Bill Gates and Johnny Guarco, you guys have the exact same amount of time. So all he's doing is he's either getting some type of reminders or he's getting people to remind him of what he's going to do. And all he does is plan out as far as he can in advance. So what I do is I set notes when I'm writing in the chat and I go, I need this to happen 18 hours from now. I write that down and I set a reminder for 18 hours immediately. And I will forget about that trade. It'll leave my mind forever. And then I will get reminded 18 hours. So when I'm in the moment, I will set about 20 reminders for myself every afternoon for the next day. And as I've forgotten already about those plans, right? When I get to, so let's say this time space is 18 hours of time. About 6 hours of time, once I've forgotten about everything that I have to do, I plan for 36 hours in front of me.
Gotcha.
I'm always trying to figure out, okay, now that I've forgotten about what I already had to create myself, let me go a little bit longer. And if you keep practicing that, you'll get to the point where planning about 3 to 6 months in advance, it becomes a little bit more comfortable for you. And you just have a lot of reminders along the way that this is coming up. Even with that, I still forget things sometimes, and I still have schedule overlapping. That'll certainly occur, especially if you change time zones a lot. That'll really start messing with you. But that's the best way I manage my trades is I will take a screenshot of everything. So when you guys are hearing me in the afternoon and I write down what I want to do, I will save an image of the chart. I'll put it into a reminder document, and I'll go ahead and remind myself 18 hours from now, look at this again. And that's it.
Gotcha.
That's really that's all I do. It takes a lot of practice, but in order to accomplish your time, you have to start getting an idea all the time of what you're doing as far in advance as you can.
So what I'm hearing, it's kind of like, you're setting up your plan, your future, but then you're coming up with a contingency plan, if you would, about halfway through that timeline to say, okay, well, if this doesn't happen, then my next plan is to do this.
Bingo. Yep, exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly. And the thing is, that all comes with practice, but it comes with time management, having the ability to know. I mean, I know what I'm doing next week to the hour already. I know what I'm doing up till September. After September, I'm pretty much, I don't really have any plans right now. But as I get closer to September, guess what's going to happen? It's going to become October, and then it's going to become November. So every time I'm going forward in time, I keep outlining my future dates, right? A lot of people will stop. They'll reach September, and then they go, now what do I do? You have to keep that routine of always planning. Every week, I start adding a new week 3 months out.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
So we're about a quarter way through, and this next question is really going to be our last kind of, trading focused question. Then we're going to get into some personal stuff. Okay. But I know this next question you could probably talk for about 2.5 days on, and then take a rest and have a drink of water and then continue again. But let's just throw something out there for people that don't know anything about cryptocurrencies, okay, and just what your thoughts are in the future. So if you can you just talk about, where you think the crypto space is going? Because for those of us who've been following it, and like you always say, Bitcoin is the king daddy. If you've been following that, we've been declining in price quite some time now. So a little bit on the bearish side, if you would. But so let us know what you think where the crypto space is going. And then can you tell us real quickly about your awesome opportunity, your I4R podcast that you do every week?
Yes, I'll talk about both those things. So cryptocurrencies in a nutshell, and you are correct. I could talk about that for a week. Not only Bitcoin, but just cryptocurrencies in general. What is happening is the real revolution is not necessarily cryptocurrencies, but something known as the DLT, the distributed ledger technology, also referred to as blockchain. And the best way to sum up blockchain is exactly like the internet, but instead of one singular point of attack, it's spread out over numerous different, what's referred to often as nodes. So a distributed ledger technology was created by a team of people. Bitcoin specifically was created by Satoshi Nakamoto, but really blockchain technology in its essence, people would argue, was also created by Satoshi Nakamoto. But the overall thought process is it spreads out risk and makes it decentralized, which means no one owns it. And that doesn't make sense to some people, because a lot of people are like, people have to own something in order for it to work. But I would refute that argument with saying, have you ever heard of Linux? Type in a 1 for those who are here live if you've ever heard of Linux. I'm not a software expert, but I do know that it is a decentralized software. No one really owns it. So is Wikipedia. Now, there are people who have management over it. So you can manage something, but Wikipedia is a fully open source, entirely distributed ledger, if you will, of information. So to me, a cryptocurrency or a digital asset is only viable if the distributed ledger that it's on creates some type of value. And the best thing I can do is give you an example of, let's say someone creates an open source where voting can be done in anywhere in that particular country without anyone having to leave the house. But that voting mechanism is no longer controlled by a governmental agency, but it is a decentralized agency that will provide true and accurate results that cannot be altered nor hacked. That distributed ledger technology, which has not been created yet, but if it does, in order for the managers, if you will, of that free decentralized ledger, they're going to have to get paid to verify each transaction. And the way they get paid is by having the underlying coin or token having some type of transferable value. And that is what Bitcoin in its essence was trying to do. But they did it as a borderless currency that has no government, that has no agency, that has no one controlling its price. And that is a huge proponent, I believe, to really what Bitcoin does. So the challenge is most people did not hear about Bitcoin mostly until 2017. And the problem with that is by the time you hear about something, it is usually too late. That is often the issue. The other biggest challenge is when most people, they always feel like I'm chasing something, I'm always the last to learn about something. That's usually incorrect because most people actually get told about something at one point and then they throw it off and they shrug it off as a dumb idea, as a dumb suggestion. I'm just going to leave this alone. I'm not going to worry about it. And they fail to do the research. That's the biggest challenge because most people, I mean, I've been telling people to buy Apple for years, and most people are like, "Oh, it's too overpriced." Same thing with Netflix. I've been telling people to buy Netflix for years. I told people to buy Bitcoin back in 2016, and people are like, "Oh, that's just a scam." So a lot of people, they are required to hear it from multiple people. So, in my personal opinion, with most cryptocurrencies, a lot of them are fraudulent. They are ICOs that are a security, and they have not been created or designed to be a security licensure or to sell securities. But Bitcoin by the SEC was deemed as a non-security, which means now, folks, you have a stamp of legitimacy that is an entirely different animal. And with that being the case, there is one mathematical formula I am certain of. Bitcoin is a limited supply currency, and demand will only go up over time.
Yep.
So to me, it is an unfathomable, unquestionable certainty that Bitcoin will go higher in the future. It will simply take time. And I can point to numerous instances really quickly. I'll bring up my podcast. I tried to do this in 2 minutes, but it's impossible. I will bring up numerous events, like on Netflix is the best event I can think of off the top of my head, where Netflix had an absolute rampage of a sell-off back in 2012. And most people thought that just would not stop. It would go lower and lower, and everyone thought Netflix was dead because Netflix had moved from $4 to $40. It had a 1,000% growth. I mean, that's huge. So you're 10xing your money on Netflix. So if you do 10x on anything, you're going to have a dramatic drop. But the problem was Netflix created value. They had they offered good value, and Netflix formed an accumulation phase and eventually went higher. So if you were trading Netflix from here to here, you were bored out of your mind. It is my contention that we are somewhere in a similar pattern on Netflix, on Bitcoin. And right now, people are going to think it's boring. People aren't going to do any research on it. They're not going to care. They're not going to research blockchain technology. They're not going to research distributed ledger technology. They're not going to read any more books on it. They're just going to stop because the fad is over. And the ironic part is that's the exact opposite of what people should be doing. In my opinion, professional opinion, this is the time for people to begin to learn about what certain blockchains might be offering, because just like in the internet, Amazon back in 2000 had a 95% drop in 2000. 95%. meaning you got absolutely wrecked. But if you believe in what Amazon does, you purchase products from them, you went to their website, you went to their headquarters, you interviewed the CEO, whatever you were doing back in 2000, you would get a little bit more of an idea of, okay, I really like this company long term, and I'm going to continue holding it, and I'm going to have my risk mitigated, and I'm going to know what's going to happen. So about a year ago, I did create a podcast called the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Industrial 4. It's a podcast that doesn't have any advertisers, so it's sponsored by the listeners. We try to take topics that other people are interested in, but it's a very cryptocurrency, blockchain focused podcast, and it's different from real life trading. Obviously, it's something entirely different, but it's just something I'm doing on the side, something I'm doing for fun. And what I'm doing, or what I'm trying to do, or what I'm attempting to do, is interview people in the space to figure out if I'm crazy. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe it's just me who thinks that blockchain and distributed ledger technology and Bitcoin will continue higher. So what I've done is I put my money where my mouth is, and I go interview experts in this space, or I should say people who have been putting in thousands and thousands of hours. So my internet's running a little bit slow right now because we have a lot going on. But if you go to this link, I'll put it in the chat pane. It is a PG-13 podcast. There is some adult language from time to time, but the overall instance is we interview people who are simply leaders in that industry, and I ask them as many questions as I can to learn and to grow.
Gotcha. I highly encourage people, if they're interested in cryptocurrencies, to check out those podcasts. Those are awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think.
Do you have an echo on your side? I have a horrible echo on mine.
I don't have any echo right now.
Okay. All right. So we now turn to the personal side a little bit.
Okay.
And I just want to open it up and really get an opportunity for people to understand who you are personally and how you think. And you are probably one of the most genuine people that I've ever met in my life. I mean, we have a special relationship, and mostly I'm very picky about, who I hang out with and who I associate with.
What's Bitcoin?
But
Bitcoin
I wish I could express the credibility that you have with me, especially because to me, like my dad taught me, a man without his word is nothing at all. And I'm not trying to be sexist, obviously. That includes women too. But, if you don't have your word, then you really don't have much to offer anybody. But you're a man of your word, and I just want to open up and have people get to know you a little bit. So That being said, out of your 30 very short years of life, but you're a very wise man. I mean, I got 28 years on you, and I learn every day from you, Jerremy. But anyway, from your perspective, give me your top 3 to 4 life lessons that you've learned along the way. And just to remind you, we got about 25 minutes left, and I got about 12 questions left.
3 to 5 life lessons, man. Wow. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Biggest life lessons. Here we go. Number 1, don't believe everything you're taught. You can learn anything about anything from other people. You have to do research. If you hear something from someone in power, it could be a religious person or it could be someone at a university. Do not believe everything that you were taught. It doesn't matter who it's from. Go do some research, back test. Go find someone on the other side of the aisle and listen to their stuff as well. And what you do is your brain will formulate an opinion, a true opinion. That's one of my things, because people vastly underestimate the power of thinking. There's a book that many people are very familiar with called Think and Grow Rich. But what the biggest challenge is, a lot of people only read the last half of that book. So the thinking aspect is learning how to think simply means doing investigative research, asking questions, and not taking things at face value. That will be my number 1 thing, because I learned a lot of things when I was young, and it turns out they're all false, or a lot of them are false. I mean, a lot of these preconceived notions that I've learned, like someone is filthy rich. I learned that as a kid. People can be filthy rich. Why? Why do they have to be filthy? Why can't they be clean rich? You know, why can't they be sparkling, shining rich? Why do they have to be filthy? So all of that is just another component. That would be, I would say, number one. Number two, this is the most, a more recent thing that I've learned is you can't please everybody. So please the people that love you the most. Pour into those people and really build phenomenal relationships with them. I'm a pleaser at heart, and I've grown up for the first 26 years of my life trying to please everyone and make everyone happy until I realized it's impossible. It's a mathematical and philosophical impossibility. Can't make everyone happy. So don't worry about it. Number three is kind of ties to that a little bit more, and it goes against the grain of thinking. And that's why I like this a lot. That's why this was my number one, just become a better thinker. Number three is say no a lot more. A lot of people have problems saying no. I'm still one of them. I'm still working on it because as I grew up, remember I told people that I grew up learning a lot of things that were false. I grew up to say, be a yes man. Say yes to everything. If someone wants you to work more hours, say yes. Work harder, say yes. Do this job, say yes. And if you say yes, you fill up your plate too much and there's too much going on. Until I read a book that was on the other side of the fence called Essentialism. I forget who wrote it. I don't know how to spell essentialism. Essentialism. I think it's by Daniel Pinkertz, I believe. But Essentialism is a great book. I suggest everyone read it, but you have to say no a lot. One of the things that broke every belief that I had is literally a quote by one of my mentors, Warren Buffett. Everyone knows who Warren Buffett is. He says that the best investors are the ones who say no the most. And that just shook me like a 1,000 bricks because I was like, man, I say yes to everything. That is a huge, huge takeaway because a lot of people feel that if they say no, they're going to hurt someone's feelings. And I read another quote recently. I forget by the guy's name. We're welcome to Google it. But the person says, it says the man, but obviously as you mentioned, it applies to everybody. The man who is truly free can turn down a dinner invitation without making an excuse. Dude, when I read that, I was like, whoa, because up until that time, I'd always say, no, I can't do dinner because of this. What I do now, if I can't make it to dinner, I'll say, I can't make it at that time. Here's when I can make it. Simple as that. Boom. It saves brain power. It saves time. It saves a text message. It's easier. And that was a life-changing event for me because you're not making people upset. If they're a true friend, so Johnny, if you text me and said, hey man, can we chat tomorrow? And I go, no, let's chat Thursday at 10 or whatever. You're going to be cool with it. It's like, no one cares. If someone loves you, no one's going to care if you tell them no, but let's see if we can do it then. You know?
Right.
So a lot of people say yes for everything. And it's a giant mental shift because if everyone says something, and if everyone believes something, it's usually wrong. So I go and look for something else. I would honestly say that's three. The number four, the biggest one, the one that really is the culmination of all four of those is do not be afraid to give of yourself. So when people say no, when you say yes, be there, be present, be loving. I mean, with your whole heart. When you're in the moment and you're either teaching or you're helping or you're volunteering or you're working out or you're running or you're mentoring, whatever you do take time to do, say no for 90% of the things you do in life. And when you're there for that 10, show up. And you're a Marine, I'm not, but you went through things where you had to show up, right, Johnny? If you weren't there, you would die. There would be times when your body would give up on you and the people around you would give up on you. You mentally said, I'm doing this, and you put 100% of your effort in. What happens is when you do that, ladies and gentlemen, you fully reach success. When you can say no, and then when you do say yes, become the best version of yourself possible, you will win no matter what it is that you're doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
So, I'm a dreamer, right? I'm a true believer in having big dreams because it goes hand in hand, I guess, with having a plan, a life plan, right?
Yep.
But And by dream, I mean, I'm not talking materialistic things, as you know, but although some people may have a dream of owning, you know, a Tesla SUV one day. I don't know. Everybody has different dreams. Do you have a dream?
I do. What I will do is you brought up a word that I have to harp on because this was one of the things that I was taught as a young child.
Okay.
Do not be materialistic. And materialistic. What's interesting about that term is, again, I had to really explore that, because when I learned to not be materialistic, what that means in my version of the world, what I've been learning is materialistic is loving material items more than emotional items or spiritual items. That's what materialistic means. If I can buy a material of something that makes my life better because I love it and that will help me do better at this, that's not materialism. So for example, if I need to buy a house somewhere in the world that will help facilitate a bigger family or a better lifestyle for myself and maybe someone that I adopted or people that I love or whatever the case is, or if you need a car because the car that you're in right now stresses you the hell out and you hate driving it and it breaks down every 4 months and that's putting negative energy in your life, then go buy a nicer car. If you love something more than you love people, that's when it can become materialistic. For me, I would simply say I love material items that add value into my life. So if a lot of people say if someone has a private jet, they're materialistic. But the challenge is with a private jet, there's times for it and there's times not for it. Because if I could have a private jet and save 17 hours a week in my travels, and I could be 17 hours more with my family and I could afford it, I would easily do that. So for materialistic is like you mentioned, I just had to harp on it. That is one of the things that I urge people to go get the things that you want, and more than likely they will not control you as much as many people have told you. If you don't get something because you know it'll make you materialistic, then absolutely don't do that. If you're like, I can't put myself in this situation because I'm not going to constrain myself. If you know your weaknesses, if you know your flaws, hey, I'm all about it. But my dream, my ultimate dream, my vision, my life goal at this particular point in time starts off like this. It's a Tuesday at 9 a.m. I'm on some type of catamaran or a yacht or a boat, and I have 5 to 15 of my best friends, family, people I love around me, and we're sailing port to port in somewhere either in Greece or the Mediterranean or California or Brazil, but we're sailing the coast of a country and we stop off at a port each and every day, a different port, a different place. And me and all my friends and my family and people I love, we walk into a specific place and I start a conversation with a specific person that I just feel needs to have a much better day and a much better life. And I start talking to this person and I ask them the question, what is something that you've always wanted to do in your life that you've always been too afraid or too broke to do? And they tell me something, whatever it is. I want to go to college. I want to go skydiving. I want to go scuba diving. I want to pay off my grandma's house. I want to pay off all my debt. And I go do that for them. And then I change their life. I film the whole thing. I put it out in the world for other people to enjoy. And then the next day I go do it again somewhere else. And that is at present moment, my ultimate dream. And other people, other friends, other family can get on and off of the boat as they feel. But I want to have that boat and I want to have no schedule, the ability to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it. And I want to massively impact people every single day.
Woo doggy.
Yeah, baby. That's it.
Hey, man, if you're listening to this live or whether you listen to this recording, and I can tell you one thing, I know Jerremy Newsome, and he will do that one day. So I would say join us, everybody, become part of the family, and let's do this. So, it's funny because Nate, I'm looking at the chat panel right now.
Yeah.
So Nate says, and tell me if this sounds familiar or not, although I don't have two little girls, but actually I got one little girl and a big girl, but I have some boys too. But Nate says, my dream is to become a profitable trader so I can spend more time with my wife and two little girls.
Yes.
Nate, did you hear my interview a couple weeks ago?
Yep.
Just type 1 if you did.
Yeah, that is literally exactly what Johnny wants. And what I love about that is,
So he did hear it.
yeah, what I love about that, Johnny, is it's such an easy and beautiful thing to accomplish. I think that's a phenomenal dream. What I would, my biggest encouragement is for people, in order to think about what it is exactly that you want, like spending more time with your kids, your daughters, your brothers, your sisters, your sons, nieces, nephews, is instead of having that particular dream, go a little farther and ask yourself, all right, if time was no object, money is no object, what are you doing exactly? Like, if money's no object, you have $1 billion, you're the most profitable trader in the world. Every time you press a button, you make money and it's easy. What does your day look like with your kids? Are you sitting on the couch watching movies all day? Are you going to the park and running around every single day? Are you traveling? Where are you traveling to? Go one step farther and then try to go one more step farther and one more step farther and have an exact dialed in metric and then work your way back. So for example, if someone says, I want to spend more time with my kids and I want to travel more and I want to go to Italy. All right, so now you want to be in Italy on a Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. going and eating some breakfast in Italy at 8:30 on a Tuesday. All right, beautiful. So now start walking your way back and go do half of that dream. So go on a Tuesday at 8:30 and eat breakfast with your kids in your hometown. So it's like, man, all right, I'm getting 80% of this goal out the way, right? And then you go a little bit closer to Italy the next time you do it, right? Maybe you go, if Italy is west or east of you, you go a little bit closer. You pick another city and you go one step closer. And what will happen is your brain will go, yeah, I like this a lot. I want to do this a lot. Let's continue in this direction. Because as you mentioned, Ronnie, earlier, one of my goals is to travel and help people and be on a boat. And do it in the sea and do it in the ocean, do it on the port. Well, I didn't have the money 3 years ago to just live on a yacht and travel the world and spend time. What I did is I would drive. I would drive to other cities and I would ask real life traders, hey, where's somewhere that you've never been before? Where's somewhere that you've never eaten before? And I'll go and I'd pick up the tab. Whatever the case is, I would slowly start doing that, slowly working my way towards it. And I now have everything lined up, by the way, Johnny, to go on that boat. I've already got the person who's going to sail it. I already know how much it's going to cost, and I already have a general day of where I'm going. It's happening. And so once I get there, what I'm going to be doing next is just the bigger versions of it. So it slowly starts making it work.
Awesome. You know, I would encourage everybody, whether you're part of the real life trading family right now or not, if you don't have a dream, and it better be big, I would just suggest to you that you sit down and have a long think with yourself and you create a huge dream for yourself. And, you know, Clarice, yeah, I'm talking to you, you know, Nate, I'm talking to you. You already got a huge one, you know, and everybody else that's listening, Tanya, and everybody else who's listening, recording, you know, build that dream, think about it, because dreams are so powerful. They do actually come true. If you keep dreaming them, they will come true. And you just got to be determined and self-disciplined. And I could talk about that forever, Jerremy, because I'm surrounded around my dreams. And I truly believe they've come true just because, you know, I've put them in my mind and I keep reinforcing them every day. So. Yeah. I would encourage you to post your dreams in Slack or send Jerremy or me an email and tell us what your dream is. All right, Jerremy. So here's going to be a funny question.
Okay.
I'm very interested to see how you're going to answer this, baby.
Okay.
So I know you very well. So I ask you, do you want to be famous there, Bubba?
Do I want to?
And if you do, tell us why. If you don't, then tell us why.
Oh, that's a very good question. Do I want to be famous?
You got a lot of talent, man. You know,
My answer.
you could be famous very
My
easily.
answer is honestly yes, I do. I want massive, massive fame, and here's the reason why. I think a lot of people do it wrong. In my opinion, I think. Well, let me rephrase. I think a lot of people could do better. So, for example, the Brad Pitts of the world. I don't know personally all the things that he does, but I haven't also heard about many of the things that he has done at being a famous person, being a pedestal for success. I don't know if this offends anyone. If it does, it's not meant to be offensive or a political statement by any means. But that's exactly what Trump did. Is he took his fame, his public perception, and just the things that he has done, and used that as a stepping stone. If you are in the limelight, I think you are able to figure out what you can now do to serve humanity better. And I want that pressure on my shoulders because I think I will exceed my own expectations and the expectations of some others. I have Ashley with me, and she's going to be an amazing help, and she's going to lift me to where I want to be, and she's going to help continue to push me. She's going to be one of my biggest supports for that. And then the people around me that I absolutely love, they're going to always continue to help me. I want to be famous because I feel like in the right circumstances and the right opportunities, I'm going to be able to leverage that for so much more. I'm going to create drastic change. And I asked in a coaching session at one point, I asked Tony Robbins himself if he ever wanted to be president. And I would argue that there's very few people less famous than Tony Robbins. But I asked Tony Robbins, hey man, are you ever going to be president? And if so, how can I help you become president? Because I think you deserve it. And he told me, I feel like I can change a lot more lives doing what I'm doing now than being president. And I don't know if that's entirely true or not. I don't personally believe that's true, but he does. And I'm not saying I want to try to be president. I don't think I would want to be president because I agree in the situation that you have much more control, much more freedom, and much more flexibility. So it would be my argument that, yes, I want to be famous and I want in the right limelight. I truly think I can shine.
You're an amazing person, Jerremy. I hope everybody who's listening is reading between the lines, because what I just heard is it's not about Jerremy Newsome. It's about helping others. That's what I just heard.
Oh, man, that's all.
Hey, buddy, we're having dinner tonight, and I'm letting you bring a guest, and that guest actually could be dead or alive. Who are you going to bring tonight?
Oh man, a guest, dead or alive? Wow. That's a huge question. I would have to say one of the people that I look up to the most, who has passed away. Oh man, that's a huge list. The names that initially came to my list would be past relatives, but I already know them. I know a lot about them. It would be a very fun dinner. It'd be a very laughing dinner. We'd have a lot of fun. I'd have to say either Leonardo. I'd have to pick someone. Leonardo da Vinci. I went to one of his museum artworks when I was in London, and I mean, I've read up a lot of his works. I've read a lot of his books. Well, not his books, but books on him. Phenomenal guy, incredible, just a genius at the pinnacle. And I think it's very interesting that that's the case. So yeah, I would have to say Leonardo da Vinci is the person I would bring to that dinner.
Okay. Well, just out of curiosity, who would be the second guest if I gave you two guests?
Two guests, just so I could see him again, would be my nephew Donovan Newsome.
Would be what?
Would be my nephew Donovan.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. All right, buddy. So you're a very talented man, but if you could just gain one more quality, what would it be?
Man, I promise, folks, the reason that a lot of people think that I have it all together is because when I show up, I'm 90 to 100% there in the moment, and I'm doing what I love to do when I'm there. And that's why I try to live by that, as I mentioned earlier. The skill that I would really, and I'm continuing to work on, is communication with others. because as crazy as that sounds, in a personal environment, when I'm in a personal situation, I have a hard time understanding what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling that way. And it was really just because I was brought up as, an alpha male. We're not supposed to have emotions, right, ladies? For some reason, guys just are emotionless. So I try to figure out, is that a good thing? And all the people that people look up to, all their mentors, Jesus, Buddha, Mahatma Gandhi, Muhammad, whoever the person is, all these people are enlightened, emotional people, men specifically. And I've always looked at that and go, man, I'm not very emotional. I need to get better at communicating. And so that's something that the biggest skill that I'm working on right now is just communication with others, letting people know how I feel, truly feel, not just like surface, but how I really feel at that moment.
Gotcha. Is Ashley in the room?
She's downstairs. She's not here right now.
Okay. I want to ask her what quality that would be.
She would probably say the same thing, honestly.
All right. Well, we don't have much time left, but I still got a bunch of questions, so let's buzz through these real quick here. So we already talked about the cruise and what a day that will be, but what's an absolute picture perfect day for you right now?
Oh man. So that's a beautiful question. I'm gonna do my best to answer this in 2 minutes, because this is something that this is an exercise I want every single person to do. Every single person, I want them to design their perfect day. And perfect day for me is I wake up without an alarm, and I go and either work out, depending on where I am in the world and what time it is that I'm waking up. I either work out or I eat breakfast. And then I'm going to look over the stock market, and I'm going to see what type of trades are out there, what the market's doing, what the trades are doing, what the general market's doing, answer questions. And then I'm going to do that for about 2 or 3 hours. Then again, depending if I haven't worked out, I'm going to go to the gym or go do some form of very intense physical exercise for about 30 minutes to an hour. Then I'm going to have some type of phenomenal lunch somewhere in the world, wherever I'm at the particular point in time. And then right after that, I'm going to do some type of podcast. I'm going to do an interview. I'm going to do some film, some videos, some editing. The whole time Ashley is with me, doing all this with me. And after that, I'm going to do another physical exercise of some kind, either mountain biking, snowboarding, some type of very intense physical activity, training for something, whatever the case is. And then that particular night, I'll sit down, I'll have a small dinner with some people that I love, and then go to sleep and do the exact same thing the next day.
Woo, doggy, that is awesome. I'm there.
Yeah, man.
Sign me up.
That's right, baby. That is it.
Hey, so we've gone an hour, but I got some questions left. Do we want to do another interview, or do we want to buzz through? I think I have about 6, 7 questions left.
Keep it coming.
If we got the time. If not, let's do another interview.
Keep it coming. Let's go.
All right. Can you tell everybody what, not who, but what you're most grateful for in life?
Oh, man. What I'm most grateful for.
Yep.
That's a hard thing to answer. I'm going to do my best to answer it, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to initially sound cliche, but I'll try to wrap it up. I do have a reminder on my phone to think about 10 things I'm grateful for every day. And your name has come up a lot, Johnny, because I love you, buddy. And I try to either write it down or think about 10 things I'm grateful for every single day. Honestly, the thing I am most thankful for, and again, it's going to be very cliche, is conscious thought in life, because I've looked at the mathematical probabilities of even being consciously alive, and it's staggering. The amount of the billions of not only stars, but just galaxies that exist in the world, the numbers that we can't even fathom, that many other rocks and stars that we could be on. And yet I'm here consciously awake. I'm not saying that if you believe in a before life or an afterlife, I absolutely get it. But I'm saying right now, I am consciously aware that if I am alive, I love it. And so that conscious thought is, for me, the thing I'm most grateful for, because the fact that if you go back and change anything at all, I don't even exist. Anything, any variable in time before I was born, I'm no longer here. And that to me is a mind-altering experience when you really, truly understand the mathematical odds of you being alive is astronomical. And for that, I'm very grateful.
Wow, that's awesome. I've gone through some health challenges recently, so being grateful that I'm alive is a very easy thing to do. But I love your thought process and where you're at.
Thanks,
and
man.
just totally with you.
Thanks.
I think, I don't know, for something to think about in the future, maybe everybody in the RLT family should think about, maybe posting, or maybe you have some kind of exercise for everybody else later on about, what they're so thankful for in life. Just a thought.
I love it.
So we talked about for gratitude, but let's talk about what are you most proud of in your life?
Most proud.
See, I told you these are going to be thought-provoking questions, right?
Yeah.
And putting you on the spot and answering them in a minute or two.
They definitely are, man. What I'm what I'm most proud of, man. I mean, as soon as you first said it, again, the clichéness is hard to wear off, but it's what I'm most proud of is the fact that I built real life trading, and I reached out to people and I helped them build it, because without real life trading, me and Ashley and I's relationship I don't think would have been here, or would have lasted as long, or we definitely wouldn't be working together every single day. I wouldn't receive emails every single day about people that their lives have actually changed. And the fact that I've always wanted to do that and have an impact on people, and that I've actually done it, is something I'm very proud of, because into the future, let's say 30 years from now, regardless of how much money I have or how wealthy I have, or who I've helped or how many people I've helped, or if I'm even alive, I can look back and go, man, that's a legacy that I'm proud of. And that was a launching point. That's when my conscious thought started to shift. And for that, I think I will always be amazingly proud, because I stepped out of my comfort zone and did all the things I wanted to do and achieved all the things I actually wanted. And then I had to go and do more. And that's the thing I'm most proud about right now, man.
You know what I'm most proud about for you?
What's that?
You're the most selfless person that I've ever met in my life, and that your mama and dad did just an unbelievable job bringing you up.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that was the second thing was definitely gonna be my dad. My dad and my mom.
Yep.
It was gonna be most proud of, but that was almost too cliche of an answer. I had to go a little bit deeper. But I mean, my mom and father. My mom is a saint, and even though her and I don't agree on many things, she is. Dude, you talk about selfless. She's no. I mean, oh my goodness, this woman is whatever, and she always says yes. Which again, good things or bad things, pros and cons. But she always says yes. She would, if she needed to, whatever she needed to do, she would do it at that point in time for that person, no matter what. And that's phenomenal. And my dad was just an incredible human. So yeah, definitely my mom and dad. Always give props to them. Always give them love. And it was a lot. It was a childhood that will forever change the world thanks to those two.
Yep. Great people.
Yeah, man.
Hey, my next question was, what's your greatest accomplishment? You kind of talked a little bit about it, but do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so it's interesting you mentioned that, because my greatest accomplishment and what I'm most proud of aren't actually the same thing. My greatest accomplishment has been a recent mindset shift that I've made. That's probably one of the accomplishments I'm most happy about. Is about 3.5 years ago, right when I started forming real life trading, I had that mindset shift where it helped me think better and think differently and alternatively from a lot of people, and it was massive for me to do that. And it really just all came when I hit rock bottom. I made a video to myself, like a time capsule, and I haven't watched it yet. But I had a lawsuit on my shoulders. I had spent all of my money, and I had 1 penny in the bank. It was actually comical, dude. Seriously, like my account balance actually said 0.01. And I had no money. And I had already gone, like I had already hit rock bottom, and I got there again. And it's a story I don't really talk about that much. A lot of it for legal reasons, but it's going to start happening more and more eventually in the near future. But when that was happening, when that was occurring, I was like, man, this is insane. Like I went bankrupt, and I'm not bankrupt, but I went broke, and I'm now broke again after having this crazy wild ride. And this was recent. Like this was very recent. 4 years ago recent. And I was at rock bottom, and I just sat there and I said to myself, all right, here's the deal. You think you can outwork everyone in the world physically, but you can't. You can't be the strongest person because there's always gonna be someone stronger. You can't be the fastest, there's always gonna be someone faster. You can't be the richest because there's always gonna be someone richer, right? You can't be the smartest, on and on and on. And so what I said to myself was, here's the thing, man. All those people who have what you want, they think differently. And I, at that particular point in time, went through my entire life, went day by day, almost, I just sat down, like meditated for hours. And I just thought, how did all those things shape who I am today? And how could I have thought about those differently? And when I realized that everything that had happened to me at that particular point in time happened for me and not to me. Right? Meaning that if you have problems, a lot of people go, man, this happened to me. I have such bad luck. This occurred to me because, I'm negative, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not rich enough. But instead, when that mindset shift came on, that said, this problem is happening for me because this is the only thing that's going to propel me forward. Dude, game changing. And that was the accomplishment that I had, is when I made that shift of every single problem that happens for me, which is given to me on a silver platter, and go, okay, Jeremy, overcome this and you're going to get better. Dude, huge.
Wow.
Huge.
Wow. Hey, administratively, are we getting cut off in 6 minutes, or?
Oh, we can do this whatever we want, man.
No, I mean, does the webinar kick us off in 6 minutes, or it goes as long as we want?
As long as we want.
Okay. Well, I only got 3 more questions, and then we'll be done for the day.
Yep.
So this is going to be interesting. What scares you? What keeps you up at night?
That's a great question, man. I have dealt with fears so much at this particular point in my life. I think one of the things that I've had to think about what I'm afraid of, because I've told myself that I have no fears for a very long time. And I don't think that's true. I think everyone has some type of fear that's driving them. I don't have the fears that most people have, but I definitely have fears. And I would say one of the biggest fears for me, one of the things I constantly think about, it boils down to reputation and how people see me. I don't want to ruin that because, as you mentioned, I can have all the money in the world, but if I don't have my word or what I stand by, then what really am I? Well, what really have I accomplished? What really what do I do? And so with Ashley, obviously it goes without saying, but I've never cheated on Ashley. And that's a huge accomplishment for me. I know that sounds crazy, but I was a really horrible person in my early 20s. When I was 21, I made all this money, trading. When I first started trading, I made tons of money, and I was really I was not a good guy or girl. I was just a terrible person, or at least in my vision of the world, I wasn't a good person. And I think that having that ability to reform your reputation and understand where you are at the world now, my biggest fear is losing the discipline to continue doing that. And that's really the only fear. And the good news is it's this very, very simple fear, but it's something I have to remind myself of, like when I go into a meeting or when I work with somebody, or if I do a podcast, or if I say something, or if I do an interview, or whatever the case is. I go, do I want people to see me like this? And I'm okay if this is me, this is truly who I am. I'm fine if people don't like me, right? Remember that. I said that earlier. I'm okay with that. I just need to be true to myself. I need to go, this is what I actually love doing, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. So here it is at its core. And yeah, man, that to me is the fear of losing my reputation, or the fear of, let me rephrase, sorry, not losing my reputation. The fear of losing the discipline to keep up a reputation is probably one of the things I'm biggest at.
So that being said, I mean, would you change anything, how you were brought up? What would that be if you were going to change something in the way that you were brought up?
No, I can't. That's a question. I've thought about it, man, so much, and I like that was the breakthrough that I had, was when I was looking back and I said, I would love to go back and change this. I would love to go back and change this. I'd love to go back and change this. But if I change everything, then I wouldn't have any problems. And like I mentioned, all the problems happened for me. So as I looked back, I went, if I did change this, I wouldn't have learned this. I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And I wouldn't have this way to relate to people. I wouldn't change anything, because if I did, then we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. And I don't know where I would be. So I'm gonna keep everything the exact way it is, because everything that happens in everyone's life is for your benefit. It's not going to look that way, but you getting cancer, for your benefit. It's going to make you love your wife and your kids even more. It's going to make you even more diligent, more responsible, more aware of time. If you lose all of your money, go make more. There's plenty of it out there. That happened for you. All of your problems.
Yep.
You got your legs cut off in a car accident, for you, because you're going to motivate some other paraplegic who is thinking about ending their life at some point. All of our problems, if you're depressed, that's happening for you, because what that does is that's telling you, I get to figure out how to overcome this, and if I'm able to help other people who have this exact same problem, and be able to create a community. So I personally believe that, I wouldn't go back and change anything, because everything that happened to me happened for me. And like I said, that was one of the biggest revelations I've ever had in my life.
Wow. All right, buddy. Last question.
Okay.
Tell us what RLT is going to look like in 5 years. Where are we going to be?
Whoa. So here's some honest goals. I would love to be a publicly traded company, and actually be on the stock market. But the problem with that is we'd all want to trade that stock, and I don't know if we'd legally be allowed to. So I'm kind of like,
that's an easy trade, man. That's the most bullish trade you could get in the stock market.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to try to figure out how to go private, or not figure out. I know it can be done. So I'm going to work on that, figure out how people can buy shares of the company, because I'm going to change the industry, man. I'm decentralizing education. I'm making it different than other people, and I'm going to continue to do so. I would say in 5 years from now, real life trading has a full-on, fully built futures room, like we're doing right now for people who want to trade futures. They're going to have, it's going to have Forex, it's going to have cryptocurrencies, it's going to have bonds, it's going to have commodities, it's going to have stocks, it's going to have everything that everyone could potentially people want. And at the beginning of that, it's going to have funnels, and it's going to have a algorithmic personality detector that when people come to my website, they're going to answer a series of questions, and those questions are going to dictate not only their personality, how they learn, what they learn best with, and it's going to create a systemized course that is catered towards their personality. So if someone wants a bunch of bullet points and details and numbers and metrics, they're going to have that. If they just need bright, big overstrokes, they're going to get that. If they want text versus video, they're going to get that. So I'm going to build, and I'm working on that system as we speak. It's going to be an intellectual property that I'm designing that is going to revolutionize the way people learn. It's going to revolutionize the education system. It's going to be an algorithm and a program that literally can be given to anyone. And as they go through it, it will teach you your personality, what type of learning style you have, and you can apply that to anything, be it lawyers, medical school, high school, educational, elementary, whatever the case is. And that will streamline real life trading. It'll make it better, and it will help people understand, hey man, this is from where you are right now, this is exactly what you need, and give that to them in a box. We'll have more traders on the room. I'm hoping to have 5 years from now, over 2,000 people in the trading floor every single day. And that will financially be able to create the ability for real life trading to have in-person office classes, at least monthly, being able to have giveaways, lottery tickets, scholarships where I can pay for someone's trading account. So many opportunities, so many things I want to do, but real life trading will without question grow. And it's all about partnering with people just like yourself, partnering with other traders, having them teach and help and tell other people that money is everywhere. Money is abundant. If you want the stock market or you want anything else, that's great. Money will not buy you happiness. Money will facilitate you to buy the bridge from depressed to happy. And it is your job to walk on that bridge, because money will buy the bridge. That's fine. You can have the bridge to happiness. Money will buy that for you. But it is your job. It's a steep bridge, but you have to walk it. And that's going to take time. It's going to take devotion. It's going to take energy. And if you don't walk on that bridge and you don't understand what makes you happy and you don't figure out how to think about that, then money's not going to be, money will not facilitate it for you, because you still have to walk on the bridge. Unfortunately, we lost Anthony Bourdain in the world. And a lot of people thought he was living his mission and he had all the money that you could want. Same thing with Kate Spade, right? All the money you could possibly want. We've seen numerous people be dead broke and dead rich and both commit suicide. And there has to be a link. And the link is not money. The link is their perception of happiness and their perception of how they can help other people in this world and what they can do to do that. And that's one of my biggest missions, man. So real life trading, as I'm sure many of you know, is only step one. I have already begun so many things I'm going to be working on, and you are here right now to witness really the birth of some products, concepts, programs, companies that I'm working on building that are all going to be tied towards helping anyone from I have $0 in my bank account and I'm at rock bottom, all the way to I have $100 million net worth and I want to rock with you. We're going to have everything from there to there and help everyone in between.
So exciting. Holy cow.
Yeah, man.
Woo-wee. Awesome. Hey, I really appreciate you opening up to me and opening up to everybody. I threw some tough questions at you, but I can tell everybody what they heard is the genuine Jerremy Newsome. And man, I'm excited for our future. I love being part of RLT, and I love you, buddy. And over to you just to tie this up. And thanks again, man. Just an unbelievable session. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. It means the world to me as well. And just the simple fact that over 180 of you stayed through that whole hour and a half. Thank you for the world. I know time is of the essence and time is our most valuable asset. Please know that I didn't know any of these questions John's going to answer them from the bottom of my heart. And I really appreciate each and every one of you here. Johnny wanted to interview me. I love working with Johnny, and I'm just so privileged and blessed that each of you are here. I want to help people from around the world. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, what your sexuality is, what your religion is, how much money you do or do not have, what you think, what you love. I'm not saying I'm going to help you. I'm not the best person in the world. I'm not the greatest person in the world. There are millions of phenomenal people out there that truly, truly love helping others. I'm just one of those souls. But what I can say without a question is if you want success, if you want happiness, if you want to grow and progress, you have to surround yourself with people who do that. This is the perfect time for a sales pitch. Not going to give you one. If you want to join real life trading, email me. I'll send you a link. If you want to be here, you want to be around these people, send me a link. I'll send you the way you can access it. It's not expensive. It's incredibly valuable. If you want to be a part of real life trading from the sidelines, phenomenal. If you want to pay, incredible. Whatever you want to do, I want to help you. Johnny wants to help you. Brad, Angie, Albert, Latoya, Blake Anderson, and all the people here in the chat room. It's about a community. And I built real life trading to be different. So if you're watching this and go, man, this guy didn't talk about trading at all. Marcus didn't do anything in the last hour and a half, right? Real life trading. Real life trading, ladies and gentlemen. So it's about the life point every now and then. It's about helping people. It's about helping people grow. Vincent is asking for the link. Here is the link. I sent this to Ashley earlier, so I'll throw this for anyone who wants. Again, these are just numbers on a screen, ladies and gentlemen. Just numbers on a screen. It's just simple dollars. This is just to cover expenses and to help the company grow. That's simple. If you want to be here, phenomenal. We have 2 more days left in the open house week. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Again, email me if you have any questions. I posted the link in the chat pane. I will send you all a copy of this recording as well. You're more than welcome to watch it. But my friends from around the world, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you genuinely. And I want you all to know that I'm going to do my absolute best to help each and every one of you here in any way I can. If I have to say no, I will. But I have to say yes, I will most certainly do that as well. Folks, you guys rock. And until next time, love life, live life, and trade it.